Hello, everyone. How are you doing? It is Wednesday, and wherever you are in your part of the world, and we have our weekly show with Trisha G. Trisha, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. I'm just getting
Good.
a
Good to
chat.
see you. Um, how's everything in the UK these days?
It's good. We've finally got sunshine again after about
Hey,
a week of rain.
well, you can get a suntan, right? Go out and do
It'd be
some.
nice. Yeah. Yeah. It was raining earlier, but now the sun's come out.
Well, do you get enough sun in the summertime to really like get a tan?
Yeah. Well, yeah. But it can often be like really sunny for like days or weeks. And then the
Oh,
weather
okay.
can be, we used to get like the summer would be the summer
Oh,
and,
well,
it'd be sunny every day just about. But these days we don't really get like a full summer. It can be very up and down.
yeah. Well, we'll have to get you out in Colorado because you can get a suntan out here in the middle of winter.
Yeah.
Seriously. Uh,
It's nice to have a bit of colour. It's strange because I was talking to a few of my Indian friends, and it's very interesting how the ladies are encouraged to cover up so they don't go darker. There seems to be a theme. So they want to go paler, and
hmm.
I'm like, I'd love to have a bit of colour like you've got.
Yeah.
Like in the UK, people go for spray tans and all this business, and they want to be tanned. Yet they're always and it's coming from their parents, like to cover up, don't go darker. I was quite surprised.
Hmm.
Mm.
Isn't that how sapiens are? Those who are dark want to be lighter, and those that are lighter want to be darker.
Yeah, and it's not just one person, it's quite a few that have all said the same
Yeah.
thing, and they're encouraged as children and young women to keep covered up so they don't go.
Well, I say this, nothing wrong with alabaster skin. Nothing. That's all
Because
I've
I'm
got to
like,
say. See, that's what I'm saying. So, Trisha, excuse me, I spoke to Warrior Princess right before we came on,
mhm.
and I'd just like to, hey, Desert Rose, I-55, Thomas, how are you? Cherry Little, good to see y'all. Mad
And you,
Hatter, hey, Brian, how are you doing?
hi to
Um,
everyone.
we actually, on Friday night, went over the goal.
Awesome. I thought we would, but you
Yep.
just,
We set the goal to raise $500 for Warrior Princess Food Pantry. We can't say food bank, food
mhm.
pantry. And we exceeded the goals, folks.
Brilliant.
I just wanted, I'm going to do a short video. Thank you. We went way over the goal. And I don't know, but this is the first time I've heard of a YouTube community that actually came together and raised money for a direct cause. And Warrior Princess wanted me to tell everyone she is making videos so you can actually see where your donation is going to work. And I just want to thank everyone, Trisha, for you who brought this to my attention and everyone who gave. It's just wonderful. So thank you very much. It tells me that we have a tremendous community here of givers. Um, I know I've got emails from people who were giving sacrificially, and there is something that you can be proud of, and we can do it as well. So thank you, Trisha. It goes to show you just what a community can really do.
And thank you to everybody. And it's not even been a week yet. So,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just been, what, a few days. So keep going.
And we'll have Warrior Princess back on again. I'd like to bring her on once a month. This is a good cause, folks, that I think is worthy of this community to continue to feed. Now, I know that there's a lot of other people out there that would have similar endeavors. If you do, listen, let me know about it, and we'll look into it and see what we can do. What do you think about that, Trisha?
Yeah, definitely. Because if it's a legit worthwhile cause, then I love to help people where I can, because like I said on that night, you just never know. And I don't do it for that reason, but you just never know. One day it could be you. And I always think when you're on your way, you might be meeting, what's the saying? Sometimes on your way down, you could be meeting those on the way up that,
Yeah.
if you'd help them,
I found that most people are not looking for a handout. What they're looking for is a hand up. And that's what we're doing here. And I love you people. You're very good people. And it tells me that in spite of what we see so often in the world, there are certainly a lot of unsung heroes, to say the least, Trisha.
Yeah.
So, new month. What do you see coming in? I mean, I can tell you what I am hearing from some of the people I know that are still out there in corporate America and in the markets. It could be, folks, and I'm just telling you, what we look at are the futures, the commodity markets, and what the bond market is saying. Folks, there may be a 40% market correction. And I just want to let you know that ahead of time. If some of you who are working and have money in 401ks, you're probably doing very well right now, but it might be time for you to look at maybe some alternative safe harbors. So what do you see coming down the pike in May, Trisha? I just get a sense that we're building up to something.
May's a global month 5. So 5 is all about rapid change. Yeah,
rapid
change, transformation, freedom. It has its, like every number, it's got its positive, it's got its strengths and weaknesses. So it's a month for magnetize. This is globally. Like, hopefully we're going to do some readings where we can look at your personal month, because May might not be a personal month for you, but the global energy is. So it's change. So it could be coming very fast. It's about magnetizing people to you, or opportunities might just land on your lap. Like when I was in a personal year 5, things did fall on my lap. I didn't have to go out because I'd sown the seeds previous. People came to me with opportunities like, would you like to be on my radio? Would you like a regular slot on my radio show? Do you want to we created, I don't know if it was in my year 5, but a lot of opportunities for jobs, or if you're freelance, for contracts and things like that. But it's also a great month for magnetism, as in the relationships as well. 5 is a very magnetic in relationships and love, and
well, there's certainly a lot of that going around.
Yeah, I've noticed there's a lot of
I tell you what, I sit here in absolute amazement. And again, it's the energy that's coming from this group. I mean, people are like falling in love, Yeah. And I mean, like really falling in love.
Yeah, and I think it's awesome because it's nice to see. Because I know of a couple that met through Twitter, and you would never think, I wouldn't anyway, I'd meet someone through Twitter, and
I would never think that,
No, because to me, I'd be like, wouldn't even go there.
Excuse me?
But they're now married, they've got children, they run a multi-million-pound company, but it's teaching the law of attraction and talking about their story.
We ought to talk about this. One of the things that there is a law called the law of reciprocity. And I think so often, Trisha, what happens with many people that when you get into a negative mental cycle, what happens is that you start putting into motion the reciprocity of what you're actually projecting, right?
Yeah, because luckily they were both doing the inner work. She'd come out of a domestic violence relationship. There was one point where she couldn't even feed her children. All she could afford was baked beans. I think she's American and he was Australian. It was one way around. So one was in Australia, one was in America. So there was all these, what you could see, potential boundaries that people would just not even go there. And but she was doing the inner work. He was doing his inner work, which is really important. So had they not been doing the inner work, they perhaps wouldn't have even got together.
That's interesting. And I just want to say, as a personal note, every time that I have come into, a lot of capital wealth, there was always it seemed like a very lean time. And what I have found is that those who can just basically kind of grin it and just kind of smile through it are the ones that typically will receive much quicker. It's like what we just talked about. You get into this negative thing and you're going, oh, no, wait a minute. This is going wrong. This is going wrong. I don't have enough for here. And you begin to play this mental record.
Yeah, it's the same with love. I mean, money and love, to me, there's this saying I always have: tight with money, tight with love. And people that may be tight with money, maybe tight.
I love that.
Yeah.
Tight with money, tight with love.
Yeah. And I'm not saying, oh, you have to give all your money away, but it's like, if you've got this like Scrooge sort of mindset, you're going to be holding all that love in as well, I believe.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean to say you have to be rich to have love, obviously, but it may be your time that you give. It doesn't necessarily have to be money, but money is just
I have an old saying I used to say: love makes the world go around, but money pays for the first class ticket.
Definitely. But if you've got all these blocks in love, like same with money, it's just a different thing. It's just if you've got blocks in love, like, oh, I don't believe there's good people out there, I don't believe anyone's going to love me, I don't believe the right man or woman's out there, well, then you're not going to, you might meet them, you won't, and you'll just block it, or you won't recognize it, and you'll miss out on a potential amazing opportunity.
I saw a Warrior Princess video earlier. And by the way, I also saw the one that Jeff and Sandra D are doing. It was a great video today. Here's something I want to talk about, and you could probably give tremendous insight. So let's say the path of destiny says that I will end up here, right? And I know here is where I have been working towards. I'll phrase it like this: it's satisfaction, accomplishment, and achievement. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Aren't there psychic powers or people who can project negative thoughts around you that would impede your path as you're trying to proceed going forward?
Yeah, I think that can happen, and it can easily knock you off your path, which I've witnessed that myself. But I think if you keep doing your inner work and keep on track, and it's like as if you're going down a road and there's all these boulders coming along trying to knock you off your path. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
You could stay off that path and go on another one, or you could keep going. And like in those arcade games where there's I don't know, a character that's trying to get to a destination, and there's all these things been thrown at them to try and stop them on their path. That's how I look at how I've been seeing it.
I had a dream that I was standing on a platform, and as I looked out, I saw, the best thing I can say, were energies. And it was real interesting because I was seeing people as they were walking across this walkway, and these energy sources were almost betting on, was that person going to make it?
Wow.
And, I'm learning to write my dreams now. I'm doing this exercise and experiment in lucid dreaming. And when you just said that, it just began to make me realize it's sometimes not other people around us, but it's really the unseen forces that most people view, unfortunately, in a different perspective, which they like because, they can operate basically unfretted.
Yeah.
Just my same.
Yeah, I've just witnessed some other people that have got greatness in them, and they've got an amazing talent. And it sometimes just before going live, say with you, or not so much now with you, but say at the beginning when I was going live with Heidi or someone else, and it was a big thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
And even if they didn't know I was getting ready to go live, I'd get all these inboxes of people with all their drama, trying to drag me into their stuff.
Bingo.
And I'm like, wow, 5 minutes before I'm about to go live, all these people coming at me, like, are they just waiting to hit that button just before? And this isn't aimed at anybody. It's like, It's even before I was in the YouTube, I worked for a TV company for 4 years. And then I was having a lot of it from my family where they just create drama when I'm like I'm focused, I'm doing something, I'm doing my thing, and they'd create a drama, which then would potentially either lower my vibration or try to stop me. So I'm not pointing any fingers at anything to do with YouTube. I've seen it happen since I went self-employed 8 years ago and really started doing it professionally, was when I really noticed the people just I don't think it's conscious usually, it's unconscious. Because what it does is it triggers in them maybe what they didn't do. Maybe they put their dreams aside for whatever reason or let people stop them. And I think we trigger unconsciously. Most people, it's not conscious that they're sat there, like it's unconscious. And it'll trigger them and then they'll act out and they'll try and, cause drama. So you can't get to that place where you want to go because they gave up on their dreams.
I see this so often and I'm becoming hip to it. I really am. I will literally hang up on a conversation if I see the energy that's trying to derive a response out of me. I'll just say, listen, you and I are obviously miscommunicating. We'll talk at a later date and cut it off. I've noticed as well is that sometimes when no one is around, when you're just like many times I'm here in my office and I'm working, and a negative thought will drop out of nowhere. Boom. And I can now feel my blood pressure, the pressure in this earth suit increase. And it's a trigger now to where I say, no, I ain't allowing that in.
A good question is to ask, is this mine or is this someone else's?
Yeah, good point.
And often, not always, and it's not to blame other people, you'll often find that it's someone else's stuff, or it could be a parent, and not blame parents, because I'm a parent and I'm sure, there's going to be things that my son, maybe things pop up in his head. But I often say, is this mine or is this someone else's? And I often find it's usually someone else's stuff or thoughts.
Typically it is. Because if it's emanating out of you, you know it. Then makes you basically two things: a manipulator, because you're trying to invoke a reaction out of somebody else that you're manufacturing. And I don't think so often. Go ahead. I saw you were going to say something.
Yeah, because there was the one that really sticks in my mind, and it's a huge topic, is there was a space when I getting in my head, somebody felt suicidal, and I was like, I know this isn't me. Doesn't matter what I've been through, I have never felt suicidal. Thank goodness. I've never ever, and I kept getting this in my head. And I found out it was not, I did find out who it was, and it was not me, but it was somebody in my living space or that was connected to me. And it was them that was having suicidal thoughts.
I have a friend who's emailed me, and I don't know if he's watching this or not, but he's from the Middle East and has told me the situation with his wife. And, I think what happens, Trisha, is that we sensitives, empaths, connect to people psychically, probably more often than they realize. And because we're not trained in understanding what that psychic connection is doing, we will receive whatever the person and it's not targeting, but projecting towards us.
Yeah. That's a good point, because some people are lucky to, when they grow up, they have parents that are aware and that can teach them they get an earlier understanding. Personally, I didn't get that, unfortunately, because, and again, it's not blaming my parents, but they weren't that way inclined. My mother was always interested in numerology, face, the Chinese face reading, astrology. She was always interested in it, but she couldn't teach me. She never taught me about the psychic. So I think if you get that at an early stage, or do learn it, because I think I was picking up stuff for a long time and I got into trouble a lot as a child because I just blurt it out because I thought everybody knew. I didn't think it was a secret. And I do pick up a lot more probably than I realize. And then what I'd say to anybody is, what I've started to do is write it down. And then when it comes true, you know that you were picking that up. You weren't just making it up, or because it can be very confusing.
Well, if you really want to get good at this, folks, what you should do is get yourself a pad and paper. And I'm doing this now, is that when I will start feeling angry, and I got no reason to be angry about it, but I can sense that energy, I'm starting to realize, because, for instance, I get a lot of emails and I'm way behind on them, but some of them are so touching that, you know, I'm sitting here crying like a child, with complete empathy to what these people are experiencing.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's sometimes it's draining, but I'm learning how to control that as well.
Yeah, because I'll be honest, earlier on, I felt something and I felt like I wanted to cry. And I was like, but I've got no reason to really cry. Like, I felt really tearful, but it was like this big knot in my stomach. And I was like, well, I don't think this is mine, but I'm not sure. I haven't got time now because I was getting ready to figure out where this, maybe it's someone else, or I'm picking up on some, and it could be that I'm just picking up on a client. It could be, because again, I've noticed clients will be thinking about me and then the next day they'll contact me for a reading and they've popped in my head.
Mm-hmm. That's my point.
There you go. I was picking up on them. You know, I'm not going crazy.
And when people are searching for something, they're looking for answers. I mean, this individual, I'm really meditating on how to respond back. But when people are looking for an answer, particularly in a life crisis situation, and you are the focal point of what they are starting to build their hope into, it's something I had never considered. And sure enough, it seems like others, empaths, are experience it as well.
Yeah, and life path number 9s in particular, and it's not just as 9s, there's other life path numbers, but 9s seem to attract, you know, we are like a lighthouse.
Yeah.
At sea. And I never thought, I didn't think I was anything special. I just did my thing. And people would say, oh, you know, you don't realize how much you helped me or what you've done. And I'm like, but I didn't do anything. I was just being me. So I don't go out there thinking, oh, I'm saving the world. But it made me realize a lot of people do then
yes,
especially if you're doing it as, you know, you do have a lot of clients, you know, and other people will find this as well, I'm sure.
Bye, Anja. See you later.
Bye, Anja.
Well, I just want to focus in on that. Now, in the course, as this channel continues to grow, and there have been a number of subscribers who have passed on. And many times, and then I'm speaking about more than 3 here, that the children now are thanking what we present, because in the 2 cases, it was a mother, and 1 case, a father. And they had been listening to this channel and they had found a certain peace. So I think in that aspect, we're doing something.
Wasn't one of the ladies one of your moderators as well?
Mm-hmm.
I remember that. Yeah, I was shocked. Yeah. She'd only messaged me or something, I think the day I said before.
Yeah.
Yep. I remember that.
And so we're doing some really good things here. And I love the intimacy. I love the opportunity to where, you know, you can just really get into the things that make us who we are.
Yeah.
And I want all of us to begin. I think we're all psychic equipped to become far more psychic in our abilities than what the population thinks.
Yeah, we were all born with that. You know, as children, I mean, that's how we survive. We're all born psychically aware, because that's how we survive with our parents. You know, we learn how to be around them, how to, you know, adapt to their emotions and their feelings. Unfortunately, the first 7 or 8 years of life, we're in theta. We are psychic sponges.
Yes.
But we're
Yes.
also very, clear channels, but we either just gradually block it through fear, or it's too overwhelming, or whatever other reason, or you don't understand it.
Well, I want to share something personally. So, I love my father, love the man dearly. But growing up, the time that I was with him, um, being a sensitive, an empath as a child, the fear that I was around, the beatings, the constant living in fear. For instance, we were very poor and we lived up in an attic, and I could hear when his truck would pull in, and immediately it was like a fugue of fear would come over. And it took me decades, Trisha, to get rid of that. It actually was a block to me in my awareness and awakening.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah.
And what
Yeah.
got me was the sensitivity I think so many of us have as children. We're fed fear. And then that becomes the foundation of how we begin to learn and judge things by.
Yeah. It makes me so sad. I can't imagine. Luckily, as a child, I didn't get hit or anything. I mean, there was other things that, I had to
Well, there's all kinds of abuse.
But I never got hit, luckily. But for me, it was because nines particularly have a lot of forgiveness, and other people might say, well, I'm a life path this, but we big forgiveness on family and letting go of family stuff. I think mine was more my mother, and I'm not bashing, I'm working through forgiveness for my mother. I walked on eggshells around my mother. She never touched me, but she wore the trousers in the house.
Well, let me tell you, I've heard some words that were sharper and more painful than any switch, tree limb, or belt had on my back.
My mother just had to look at me. I mean, my mother didn't swear. She didn't. Well, she drank socially, but no, she didn't drink. She didn't smoke. You would think this clean chap, but boy, could she cut you dead with a look.
Exactly. How many of us, and be honest in here, that when your parents used your full name, Robert Wayne Steiger, you knew your ass was already in trouble.
She called me Patricia. That's probably why I don't use Patricia. If I hear Patricia, not many people actually call me that.
Yeah, it's like it's that name, and you're going like, oh crap, what do they do now? But it's true, and it's how we all come together here. When we see people come in and make nasty comments, what I see now is that that's a mind that's tortured. And that's what I see. They're not free. They're
hurting.
Yeah, they are hurting. And I think it's incumbent upon us who are aware is to surround them with love, embrace them with it, so much so that they'll probably run, but they'll want to come back.
Yeah.
That's what I say. And, again, the group that we have, that we see now, and I love it, whether I'm over on Jeff's, Jennifer's, yours, Sandra's, Heidi's, Rex, we're seeing all of us now. And I kind of look at it like this. It's kind of like, the weekend where who's going to be hosting coffee? It's Trisha's house. So, yeah, that's how I look at it. So, you wanted to help some people out. Maybe let's do something there. So, folks, you want to know what you got going in the month of May?
Yeah, because the month of May, although it's a global month 5, it will be a different personal month for you. So it's a good.
For who? For me or for you?
Me and you will always have the same, because
that's right.
We've got the same attitude number. So we're in, what are we in? So 7, 8. Because we haven't had a birth, so some numerologists work birthday to birthday. I mean, I do, and some will work January to January. So I'm going to go on the premise of the way I work birthday to birthday. So we're still in a personal year 8.
Mm-hmm.
Next month it changes.
And thank God we're skating out of it.
Yeah, but then we're going into year 9, a year of endings and letting go, and but humanitarianism as well. So For us, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So for us, May, so anybody with an attitude number 7, like Wayne and myself, will be in a personal month 4.
Okay.
That's hard work, determination, not giving up, laying foundations for the future. It's all about making structure.
Well, I would say this. I think that I can say 2018 thus far, there's a major rehab going on in me, both spiritually, psychically. And so I can see that. I mean, you build the frame out. And in my case, folks, it's geodesic.
Geodesic, what does that mean? Sorry, I'm standing a bit.
A dome.
Oh, okay.
I learned back in the days when I was studying architecture is that a dome displaces weight and pressure the most efficiency of any shape. So my reconstruction is the geodesic dome, folks. Come on in. It's great.
Yeah, like what am I suppose I don't know what I think for me, I can see how us going into year 9 next month. I mean, you're probably going to start feeling it now, really, to be honest with you. But for the calculation, I'm going to stick to that we're in a year 8. It's going to be about forgiveness, letting go. The last 8 years.
Yeah.
So for me, I know there's a lot to let go of family-wise for me. So
I see that happening here for myself. This has been the last 2 months, and it's just kind of increasing. There is closure to things that have been open, letting go. So the biggest growth in my life, Trisha, was letting go of the materialistic. It's as Proverbs says, it says that he who chases wealth is like he who chases the wind.
Yeah.
But that mindset started decades ago. And when you finally cut the cord, and I'll just be candid with you, it was mind coitus to the extent that it was wonderful.
Yeah.
Getting rid of that because it doesn't matter to me anymore. I really don't care.
I mean, I was brought up about, with self-employed parents, it was all about money and, there was no spirituality and stuff. And because that's how they survived and,
survived.
Yeah. And there was always food on the table. I was always pretty well dressed. We weren't rich, but I never really went without. So yes, there was super rich people that had a lot more, but, I have to say my parents, I didn't go without, and I have to thank them for that because I know what it's like. My father couldn't read or write, Wayne, hardly. He learnt to reading the Beano or something, the Dandy or whatever. One of those. He left school at 14 to work.
Yep.
His father started working age 6 when his own father, so his grandfather died when he was, my grandfather was 6, and he had to go out and earn money at 6 years old to help his mother, a widow. So they've always had this. My father wasn't educated, but he was a worker and a grafter, and he never signed on for any benefits ever in his life. Yeah, he couldn't barely read.
Solid man.
Yeah, but he was a grafter, and he would do the jobs that nobody else would do. But you know what? It benefited him in the long run because people eventually, who got the bigger jobs and people could rely on, he would deliver.
I'm thinking about picking up the bohemian lifestyle, and I've decided.
These are 5 life path number. They're quite bohemian, but these are 5 like Rexes. So
when the last time that Dr. Richard Miller was on, he doesn't wear pants, and I think I'm beginning to get that. I understand about not wanting to wear pants.
When you say pants now in the UK, it means something different. Do you mean trousers?
I mean trousers, yeah.
Because pants in the UK is underwear.
Oh. Now, you see, folks, that's what I'm talking about. Simple.
I'm thinking it's way
I'm talking pants and she's thinking panties. And I'm going,
I think he's talking about going commando here. Living in shorts and flip-flops.
I like the idea of not wearing pants. So, my wife said, so what are you thinking about? And I said, well, I don't know. How about a kilt?
I love being able to live in shorts and flip-flops and be by the beach.
Now you see, that's what I'm talking about. And I'm convinced that if we could get everybody else to think about this and just say, to hell with the jobs. Listen, we'll take care of the structures that got to do it. But come on, to work a whole lifetime just to end up dying working? No, let's go bohemian. Guys, no trousers. You see how I said that? We'll keep the pants on. So
I was thinking, whoa, wait a second.
Well, I always loved Leonard Skinner. Free bird meant more than just. So anyway, all right, folks. I love what I read about a yogi that said that seriousness is the root cause of all illness, that spirituality is not seriousness, that joy is not seriousness, happiness is not seriousness. And I think that what we have to do is just get that joy up there, right?
I love to laugh. I laugh at the most silly things at times. I'll get the giggles about something, but do you know what? It feels so good. Like I sometimes look really serious on camera, and some people think, like, why don't she smile? But I'm not a serious person deep down. Like, I'm not at all. I just love to laugh and have fun.
The girl just wants to have fun.
I'm a Gemini, Nicoletta. I've got, in Vedic astrology, got 5 planets in Gemini. So Geminis, we love to have fun, and we like things lighthearted. I can't bear that heavy, like, serious, depressed, and I know people have their moments, but then maybe that's why us Geminis, we lighten the, well, you're a Gemini as well.
I am.
We lighten the.
Listen, I did a video saying, do you have a hippie soul? I listen, take a lesson from Don Knotts. I don't know if you know who Don Knotts is, Trisha. He was a comedian television star back in the 40s and the 50s. He was on a show here called Andy of Mayberry. And Barney Fife was his television name. But anyway, Don Knotts passed away here just a couple of months ago. And Trisha, I was sharing earlier with people on this, he died laughing. In fact, his daughter had to leave the room because she was in stitches and hysterics as cracking up. And as him and his wife were there, he left. And that is the only person I have read about that ever left laughing. And I've made it a point that when my time comes, I'm looking back and all I have to say, it's been one far out ride.
Well, I'll tell you what made me laugh as well. This is a funny story. When I was in labour with my son, and the only pain relief I had was gas and air, and I got the giggles, and it was...
They got nitrous?
I remember it's this day, they had the radio on and they were talking about Saddam Hussein, which is not funny at all. But I just got the giggles with this laughing gas. And I don't know what.
You're in labor, right?
I was in labor and I got the absolute giggles. It was almost like, I was probably high on the gas.
Maybe a little.
She said to me, we're going to have to take that off you now because you're not pushing and you're having a bit much of that. So funny.
Oh, I love that.
I got the giggles.
So that's what, if there's one thing that when my time is ready, I want people who remember me is that let's learn to die laughing. We come in crying, let's go out laughing. And, I say this, that if you want to know and take a real good check on where you stand, how much do you laugh during the day? Yeah. If you're not laughing, that's a warning sign. Yeah,
because children, if you think about it, how much they laugh in a day.
Yes.
there was some study done about, on average, how little adults, some never laugh in a day at all.
No.
And
you can see it in those people. Now, I've got laugh lines, but I see people who have frown lines. I mean, it's like the whole face is merely a representation of what's going on inside.
Yeah. I mean, I'll just watch cat video. I know it sounds crazy, but I'll laugh at cat videos or stuff like that on YouTube.
that's
or animal videos.
Yeah, I mean, because believe it or not, those animals are so in tune to us. And I think that is what we miss. We miss the joy of life. And that's what I hope people can have. I really do.
Yeah, my son, he'll say to me, he gets all serious. He's like, he acts like he's my father. And he'll be like, he says, "You're mad." He says, "What are you laughing at now?"
That's okay. We will continue just laughing and having a great time.
Yes.
Gravity, Wayne, not frown. Yeah, that's the one thing. You know, I can't figure gravity out, but one of the things that we can see is what it's doing. I remember I was in Las Vegas back in, I think, the early 90s, and I saw a comedian, Rita Rudner, and she had one of the best routines that she said, you know, she says, all my teenage and early adult life, she said, I was just very proud of, you know, her breasts, she says, because they were perky. She said, I had a really tight butt. And she said, then my mother says to me, I hope that, you know, talking about children, that you have a dozen just like you. She says it's the mother-daughter curse, I guess. She says she gets out of the shower when she turns 50. And she says before her eyes, the nips drop and so does the butt. And that's 50 years of gravity, folks. So there you go.
Yeah.
Okay. So where are we at on this? We have really deteriorated here in the conversation. So
but we're laughing.
Okay. So yes, most are elderly or grumpy from medications. Tim, I will agree with you on that. But I would also say this as well. If you look at those that are now turning 20, they are already on medications that will be with them for the rest of their lives. So maybe that's what some of these people are getting on. All right, let's get some dates here, and then we can get going here. Does anyone have anything? Tactical sovereignty, Wayne, consider gravity before killed.
And if they can put their month of birth as well, if it's not obvious that it's over the 12th of the month.
All right, Brian, I'll agree with you. Yeah, my wife says we'll get the culotte kind.
Well, Jam, someone said about they don't slap the backside anymore. I never slapped my son. I never hit him, and he's turned out to be a good kid. So, but
well, I think that they mean it at the birth crying in.
Oh.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. We all cry. Hanging upside down by your ankles, defeating gravity.
There is something to that.
All right, so we have one here. Nicolette, 2207.
75.
Yes. So July 22nd, 1975.
Right. Oh, God, I've written 55.
Hey, Bob, I agree with you. We should go to nursing homes and go in there. And while you're doing that, I just want to say this. The greatest devoidness of Western culture is that the Western culture has completely degraded the wisdom of our seniors. In Western cultures, we despise the elderly. We ignore the elderly. We don't want to be around the elderly. And yet, what sapiens have not figured out is that each generation loses a wealth of knowledge that could have been passed on, only to have to relive it again. And I'll say to this, anyone that's 40 and younger, if you're not respecting your elders, then you lack something. because the day that you stop respecting the elders is the day you stop respecting yourself. You will become old if you get lucky. All right, Trish.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. I used to be scared of old people when I was younger, I'll be honest.
Yeah, that's how we
no, but
taught.
scared as in, like, because they seemed, maybe it's just my grandfather, he seemed grumpy and, like, you know, I felt a bit afraid to be around him. But, you know, maybe.
We're going to change that.
Yeah.
No more grumpy people.
He had a lot of stuff going on in his head anyway. So.
Hi, Brad.
Anyway. So that was a good choice, picking Nicoletta, because she's a life path master number 33-6. So wow. She's a master healer. They call them the cosmic parents in numerology as well. So
wow.
She's probably very creative, this lady, as well, because if you think 33 is 2 3s, 3 is the creative number, it's a sunshine number. But when you round it down, 33 you don't normally round down, but just to give an example, it makes the 6. So that's the healer, the teacher, the counselor. I feel this lady must, looking at her other numbers, is very gifted in healing. She'll be very empathic, very intuitive. But to live as the level of a 33, which 33s are more rare, 33s and 44s, only know 144 at the moment. You have to keep your vibration very high, and you have to raise your vibrations. Oh, she's a poet. How apt is that with those
okay.
philosopher and cook? Okay.
Nicolette, send me some of your poetry. We'll read it out here.
Dancer, yeah, she's got it all up. Poet, dancer, cook, philosopher. I'm not surprised at all. She's got
Nicolette, I'll have you on. Come on. We'll bring you on. This will be great. We'll continue. Wayne, would you shut up?
She's got a master number 22 birthday. She's born on the 22nd, so she's got a 22. So this is just from her birthday, not even looking at her names. So she's a 22 birthday, so that's the master builder. And then you think 2 2s, very intuitive. It's very loving. So this lady needs to really, I bet, keep, watch her energy and around people and her vibrations. Actually, I don't know if I've seen this before or I've not taken note. All 3 numbers in her birthday are master numbers. She's got a master number 11 attitude number. She's born on the 7th, 22nd 7th. When you add that together, it's an 11. So that's, again, very intuitive. It's the psychic sponge. That's the first impression people will get of her, is the 11. So she'll be a great spiritual messenger. I'd love to, know more about this lady, because she's probably very interesting.
We'd love you to have you on, Matt. Let's have her on next week. I'd love to just do. That'd be a good conversation. Okay.
Yeah, I've started bringing people on now and doing interactive readings.
I think that's great.
When I'm live. So she is in right. So because she hasn't had a birthday yet, she's been in a year 1, a year of new beginnings, sowing new seeds, this next 9-year cycle that she's in now. And she's about to go into a year. No, hold on. That's wrong. She's not in a year 1. I'm getting ahead of myself. She's in a year 3. She's been in a year 3, which is the creative year, self-expression. So she's very creative. So maybe this last 12 months that has heightened, or she's been getting her stuff out there more. She's going into a year 4, which is like we're going to be in a month. We're in a month 4. She's in a year 4, which is patience, planning, sowing, laying the foundations for the future. Think of building house, building. You need a solid structure to build on. But May for Nicoletta is a month. She's in a year 3. Yeah, so it's a month 8 for her. So for May, Nicoletta needs to, she speaks 5 languages. She needs to aim as high as she can. It could be a very busy month work-wise. It's an 8, which is workaholic. It's, you could be very, very busy with work in May. Just be careful you don't overdo it and be all work and no play, which doesn't sound like you would be because you've got a lot of creative juices flowing there. So yeah, that's just a snippet of her numbers.
Wow. Nicoletta, just email me. You can find that on About Me on there, and just email me. It's SteigerRWayne at Gmail. All right. We got, wow. Jerry, his birth date is 1/11/73.
Is that the 1st of November or the 11th of January, Jerry?
11th of January.
Okay. The only thing it changes is the birthday number, but obviously it's important. So
yeah.
Okay, so 11. Okay, so Jerry's a Life Path 5.
Huh?
Like, yeah, it is Elite Project hat. I managed to get one of the limited edition hats. Thank you. So yeah, I was just about to say Elite Project. So Rex Bear's a 5. So Jerry's a 5 life path. So his path in life is to speak, because you think of the 5th chakra as the throat chakra.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to speak and teach what he knows and what he's learnt. They are communicators. They need to get it out. If they don't, they wouldn't feel good. They're great salesmen and women. They can sell ice to Eskimos. They're very magnetic, very often sexually attractive. Even if you might not think you are, there's something about 5s that's very charismatic and people are very drawn to it. My father, I know I quote it a lot, he was a 5 life path member. And yeah.
Jerry, the man.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's got an 11 birthday, so he's got a very intuitive side as well. And he's got a 3 attitude number. 3s and 5s are very similar. So one thing Jerry will need to be aware of is minimizing drama in his life, because he'll probably attract a lot of drama.
All right. And one more, no, a couple more. We have one, I guess it's May 28th, 1988, looks like.
Do you have a name for that person?
I do not. I have an I-15. Looks like Isaiah. I think it's what it's saying, but I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see the name. I'll just quickly say Jerry is in 3, 4, 5. So May for Jerry is a month of new beginnings. It's a month 1 for Jerry.
Wow. There you go, Jerry.
Sow new seeds this month. So, okay, let's have a look at this.
Love new beginnings.
Another number 5.
Another number 5.
The
okay.
person on 28th of the 5th is also a life path 5. So what I just said for Jerry there about the life path, you know, not every 5 is going to be the same, but they do seem to have very similar traits. So save me going over that again. You've got a 1 birthday, so you'd be great at being self-employed, a leader, not a follower. And you've got a 6 attitude number. So yeah, teacher, excellent. Healer, counselor sort of energy. I'll just quickly work out what month this person's in. So, and happy birthday for this month, latest month. So you're going to be in an 8 year. Aim as high as you can, this person, because we're just coming out of a year 8 and it can be a great year for so I'm just live at the minute.
Yeah, we're about ready to wrap up. I have a hard stop.
Just wanted some
I heard him come in.
Rubbish. He wanted some. He's doing the rubbish for me. It's rubbish day tomorrow.
You see, over here in America, we call that trash day.
Trash day, yeah. Yes. He probably thinks I'm on my own channel, so sorry about that.
That's all right.
So yeah, this person's in year 8, and May for them will be 8. May for them is a month 4, same as us, yeah, because they're already in the year. So yeah, patience, planning. So it's like getting all your ducks in a row this month, May. So
Carrie says, Jerry, you sexy beast, you. I love it. Okay. P. Roberts, 5/18/96.
P. Roberts, 18th of May, 96. Another May baby. Okay, so.
Lots of them, May babies.
Yeah. 10, 16, 17, 18. So P. Roberts is a life path 3.
Ah.
9 birthday, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so P. Roberts has got 9 birthday, so that's the humanitarian. This person is probably very creative as well. They've got a 3 life, 3, 6, and 9 is the creative numbers. They've got the 3 life path, which is the sunshine number in numerology. They're born to bring joy to others, whether it's through like poetry, dancing, singing, art, music. They're very often gifted with music. Some have all of it. Some are more gifted in one creative area more than others. And then P. Roberts has got a 5 attitude number. So you have to be really careful of you can probably go from there to there. Life path 3s, if you don't get your creative juices out there and flowing, you can get very irritable, and it can get depressing because you need to get it out there and you need to be in the public eye, really, this person, if they're not already. So P. Roberts is in, because you got your birthday this month, you're going into a 7-year, huge growth, spiritual growth year. So you'll be drawn to, like, who am I? Where am I going? What am I doing at this stage of my life? I know you're still young, but it's like, where am I going? So you probably have a little bit of a wobble thinking, well, what am I doing with myself? Who am I? This is all about you this year and what you want. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Your birthday month 5 is a month 3. So have fun, enjoy yourself, celebrate. So yeah, it's all about having fun this month safely. It can be a very fertile month, so be careful if you're not wanting children yet and things like that. 3 years and 3 months can be very fertile.
Okay. Well, I have a couple of other dates here, but I'm just going to email them to you, Trish, and then we'll cover them up here. I have a hard stop I need to do.
Yeah, sure.
You know, I love this hour. It's one that to positive energy. I just appreciate you, Trisha, for sure.
Awesome. And I appreciate you too.
Okay, so now that we have patted each other in the back, we want to thank the audience. Thank you, everyone in the chat room, and for listening and your contribution. Please, life path number 7, Susan Kern. Listen, if you guys want to, just email me some of these, and I'll send them to Trisha, and then we'll try to get them out ahead next week. And
I hope you don't mind.
And go over to her channel too. Go over to her channel. I said,
I'm going live probably in an hour or 2 on my channel, and I'm just doing readings, so free mini readings.
There we go. All right. That's how we'll get that wrapped up. Well, Miss Trisha, much love to you, dear. Thank you. Thank you, everyone out there, folks. Let's learn to laugh a lot more, cry a lot less, and love those who are hurting the most. So usually, and I'm going to say this, the ones that are hurting the most are sometimes ourselves. All right, folks, we'll see you back here next week at the same time. Be good.